Hello YouTube. Right now I'm going to demonstrate for you how to crack WEP encryption on a wireless access point. And before I get started, I'd just like to review how it's all set up. We're going to be using Backtrack 5. My Backtrack 5 is loaded on a laptop that's hardwired Ethernet into a little Linksys router. The Windows 7 machine that you're seeing on the screen is accessing that wirelessly, and I have the admin page for that pulled up right here. We can see there's one client, and I'll go ahead and pull the properties of the network adapter up on the Windows 7 machine, and sure enough we see the MAC address matches. The Backtrack 5 machine knows absolutely nothing about this WEP key, and we're hoping that it will crack it and provide it to us. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll SSH into the Backtrack 5 machine, and we'll start with a program called encryption. What this program does is shows us a list of wireless interfaces and allows us to start monitoring mode on that wireless interface, and it does that by creating a virtual interface. So we'll go ahead and start it up. encryption start, and then the interface name WLAN 0. And so when I just run encryption again, we see that there's the virtual interface that it brought up. We'll be using that mon0 for the rest of the exercise. So now we'll move over to a program called dump. ng and ng. And we'll look at our interface that we just brought up called mon0. And this program allows us to see all of the wireless access points around us, and DDWRT is the one that we're interested in. It's using WEP encryption on channel 6, and this is the MAC address of the wireless adapter on that box. That will become useful to us in the next command. What dump allows us to do is create an output file of raw 802.11 frames, and basically just monitors frames coming out of a wireless access point. So let me open up another SSH session. And we will use dump to start dumping data into a file. So -w specifies what the prefix of that file is. I'll just call it WEP. -c is for channel. Our access point is on channel 6. And the BSS ID is that MAC address that we just captured. And then we're going to bring it up on mon0. So here we go. Oh, forgot to type in BSS ID. Okay, so now we can see that it is capturing data. We'll leave that right where it is, and I'll come over to this other terminal. So the next program we're going to use is called replay, and what it's going to do is send an authentication request to the access point. So -1 is that authentication request. -1 tells it to send that authentication request. This program supports multiple different kinds of attacks. -A in this program is for the BSS ID, or MAC address of the wireless access point. And once again, we're going to use the interface mon0. So when I hit enter, what we'll see is another client pop up on this list. This is the actual wireless access point admin page here. So sure enough, there's another client here and another client here. It's monitoring it on both sides. And we have to do this next command kind of quickly because it will lose authentication here in a minute. So -3 specifies sending an ARP request replay attack. And basically what it'll do is listen for an ARP packet and then replay it over and over and over again until it can generate enough data for us to be able to crack it. So I don't know if you noticed, but we actually lost our authentication there. This is not going to work, so I'll cancel it. I'll run the same authentication command once again that we re-authenticated, and then we'll quickly run the other one. And before I do that, I want to pull up the bandwidth page on this access point, and we'll see that there's not a whole lot going on here. But as soon as I start this, that bandwidth is going to spike because it's going to start sending a ton of packets over the interface. And it hasn't quite gotten there yet, but we'll see when it does. Okay, and there it goes. So we just saw this huge spike, and this data just started going crazy. Another thing, if you didn't notice, as soon as it got the authentication in the previous step, this went from blank to open, indicating that we actually are authenticated to the access point. So we'll let this run and generate a bunch of data. Let me open up another terminal window. And we can actually attempt to run the crack while this is going. Okay. So the app that lets us try to crack it is called air crack appropriately. And the file that we are trying to crack is called WEP. That's what we specified. This could be anything, but we specified this file would start with WEP, and Backtrack adds a -01 at the end. So air crack ngwep cap. All right, so this is going in the background, and it's trying to crack it at the same time. And sure enough, it got it very, very quickly. That is the key that it found, and it matches. Success.